In this video, I'm going to cover the real estate market in North Shore, Massachusetts, both looking back at last year and looking forward at the rest of 2024. This video is ideally for someone that is considering moving to North Shore, Massachusetts and or buying a home in North Shore, or someone that currently lives in the North Shore and may need to sell or relocate. For this, I'm going to consider the North Shore the exact same as Essex County versus just the coastal towns along the water. That means everything from Saugus to Salisbury and Newburyport to North Andover. I should also note before I get into any of the numbers that all of this data is a combination of both single family and condo sales, and all of the data is directly pulled from the MLS. Jumping right in, the main story of last year was yet another drop in the total number of sales. We had a total of 5,916 sales last year, which is down over 20% from the year before. But when we zoom out even further to the past 5 years, you can see that we're off about a third from where we used to hover around at 9,000. Notice here that 2022 was also a particularly bad year for sales at around 7,500. So this was an even lower number of sales from the year before that. There's a few things that contributed to this huge drop in sales: inventory, interest rates, and the prices. Inventory is the most obvious one, as obviously not a lot of homes were listed for sale, therefore there can't be many sales. Interest rates, though, were the headline throughout most of last year, as anyone who's been on the sidelines or has been looking at buying a home in the past few years has noticed. Though interest rates will vary from buyer to buyer and property to property, last year they hovered between 6 and 8%. To put that into context, a mortgage with a rate of 6% on a $600,000 home with 20% down comes out to around $2,900 per month, not including taxes or anything else. If you do that exact same scenario now with an 8% rate, you're looking at over $3,500 a month, or $600 increase, which means once you add in your taxes, you're definitely going to be over a $4,000 per month payment. And then once you add in on top of the interest rates, the fact that there was nothing really available, prices didn't go down, so affordability was even lower than it already was in the North Shore. In 2023, the median sale price in Essex County or the North Shore was $600,000, which is up from $575,000 in 2022. The average sale price was much higher than the median at close to $710,000, which is up from around $678,000, showing about a 5% increase. The reason for prices going up despite interest rates also going up, it can primarily be attributed to a lack of supply, not much being available, and a consistent high demand. The North Shore is, of course, a very desirable place to live, and the prices reflect that, and they're going to continue to do so. If the mortgage rates didn't go up, you could assume the prices would have gone even higher than they did. Another stat that's kind of interesting to look at is the comparison between the average sale price and the average original listing price. In 2022, the average sale price of $677,887 was $15,433 higher than the average original price. Whereas if you look at last year in 2023, the average sale price of $709,703 was only $3,568 higher than the average original. This tells us that it was still competitive last year, as the average sale price was higher than the average original, but we can imply that it's much less competitive than it was the year before, as the average sale was only $3,500 higher versus the $15,000 it was the year before. Of course, these are averages, the numbers aren't perfect, but you could assume instead of paying $15,000 over ask, you'd only have to pay $3,000. In 2023, it really was a mixture of sellers pricing their homes higher to start than they had previously been, and also there being less of a bidding war or multiple offer situation bidding these houses up and up and up. The average number of days to offer increased from 17 to 20, looking at 2022 to 2023, which also supports that it was still a competitive market, just slightly less competitive than it was the year before. So in total, last year, there was $4.2 billion in sales in Essex County or the North Shore, down about $850 million from the year before, which will bring me right to the next topic of what can we expect for 2024. Of course, this will just be my prediction. It has the possibility of being wrong. I don't really have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I'll give you a few possible scenarios that I could see playing out and why I think they could play out. Last year, after we had a pretty large slump in sales, seeing the total number of sales drop by nearly 1,500 from the year before, I thought last year we would see a much larger increase in inventory. I was dead wrong there. Inventory once again dropped, and there was not a drip of inventory, so sales went down even further than they did the year before. I think this year we almost have to start seeing some of that inventory hit the market, as there's been people that have not sold for years that have wanted to sell. And when you think about the average type of person that maybe owns a home and wants to sell but isn't, a lot of them have around a 3 to 4% mortgage rate. And in order to purchase a new home, because that's the main question you're going to hear now, is if I sell, where am I going to go? A lot of them are going to have to look at a 6 or 7% mortgage rate and a property that's going to be smaller and about the same value as their current one, especially after their fees and taxes and everything else. This year, from the sounds of it, it sounds like we'll be getting more stable interest rates, and therefore that should make people a little bit more comfortable in listing their home for sale and then trying to go out and buy something else, especially knowing that the rate's not going to jump 1 to 2% from when you first start looking. Nobody wants to have their home listed and then have it go under agreement, and then while you're still trying to find a property, the interest rates skyrocket on you, and now you're looking at a $500 to even $1,000 per month increase in your monthly payment. It does also sound like interest rates may be on the decrease this year, so I think that could also bring a lot more people into the market that maybe own a home and want to downsize. So I think we should start to see some of the downsizers hitting the market. So if interest rates do decrease and more inventory does hit the market, I think we'll have a very active 2024, as there is a ton of pent-up demand, especially on the North Shore. So I think we should definitely increase in the total number of sales and the total volume. I think prices will likely remain fairly stable. If anything, they may increase as rates go down, but that is to be determined. That's all I've got for this video. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere in the North Shore, please reach out and I'd love to help. Thanks so much for watching till the end. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and head over to my website, joes.homes, to start searching for your next home.